Hello everyone, Jerry Tabatt with you here at Gulf Coast State College. Got another great guest with us today. Going to talk about some information for the veterans. It's a lot of new information coming out and rehash some old information, but just to refresh everybody, Matt Standish. Matt, the Vet Center, thanks for coming in today. We appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you having me. It's always an honor to be here to talk to everybody about what we do at the Vet Center and the things we got going on.
You do a lot of things over there. First of all, a lot of people don't realize that even though you deal with veterans, they think, the Veterans Administration. You guys are kind of special.
Yeah, we're really unique within the VA because I actually like to say we are the best kept secret of the VA. Okay, the Vet Center program is really unique. We are federal VA, but we have the very wonderful privilege of being completely cut off from everything else in the VA. Nothing to do with the health system, nothing to do with benefits either. And that was on purpose because, back in the 70s, just after the Vietnam War, you had your World War II and your Korean War veterans. They were really well invested in the VA system. They were using it for their health care, getting things taken care of. But your Vietnam veterans, when they came home, were treated so badly, they didn't want anything to do with the VA. So the Vet Center program actually was triggered and started by two Vietnam veterans out in California who were counseling other Vietnam veterans to help them deal with their post-traumatic stress from the war. Well, it was Senator Max Cleland from Georgia who saw what these guys were doing, took it to the VA, because he was a Vietnam vet himself, got the VA to take it on, and now today we have 300 vet centers scattered all over the United States, still doing basically the same service.
It's such a great program because a lot of people don't realize with PTSD, you and I are fine talking to one another. If we had it now, one of us all of a sudden could go off and there's no reason for it. But with the Vet Center, if you feel like you need the help, you can go in there and there's total anonymity. Nobody knows at the VA that you went in there. And that's what's great.
Yeah, and that is the main reason we were set up. Because we see veterans, National Guard troops, reservists, even active duty members can come to the Vet Center. We've been seeing active duty for about 6 years now. Also unique about the VA, we see family members.
And that's a big part right there.
Well, yeah, because post-traumatic stress just destroys relationships.
Exactly.
So parents, children, spouse, brothers, sisters, boyfriends, girlfriends, next door neighbors, we don't care what the relationship is. Either whatever, whether it's boy, girl, boy, girl, we don't care. Because PTSD is so rough on relationships. Because of that service that we provide, every vet center in the country has at least one licensed marriage and family therapist on their staff. Because the family component is so important with this. But all anybody has to do to get seen at a vet center is literally just find one, walk in the front door. They get to see a licensed professional counselor who is also probably a veteran. In fact, across the country, we're about 72% veterans, with probably at least a third to a half of those having some combat service on their record. Now, my vet center, we are all veterans. Okay, we're a little unique, and we like it that way. We're actually, right now, when we get our new counselor, we'll be 4 Army, 1 Air Force, and 1 Marine. Of course, I'm the only Air Force guy. But I'm also the only first sergeant, so in my mind, I outrank everybody. But so I love that. But the Vet Center was designed to give these troops and veterans out there who won't talk to anybody that one last place where they can go talk to somebody who's probably been there and nobody will ever know about it, not even the VA.
And the good thing about it is you said active duty can go in there now.
Absolutely.
As quick as an active duty person leaves your office, you're not going to call up his CO and say, hey, look who I saw today. It's nobody knows about it but you guys.
Yeah, we would actually we would get in a lot of trouble if we did that. So now I always do emphasize to my active duty personnel that I talk to, there are so many resources available to them. And I always let them know we are not trying to replace any of that. Because your active duty folks, especially, they've got a mental health clinic, they've got chaplains. Chaplains are a great resource, but they're on base. And then you have Military One Source. You have the MFLAC program, which is Military Family Life Counselors. All these resources available to them, but you still have those troops who won't use them. So the Vet Center, and I always make sure leadership knows about this, we're there to give them that one other option. If they won't talk to anybody, we're there for them.
And the good thing about it is too, Matt, You don't have to sit here and shell out an insurance card or money or anything like that. It's all free.
Fully funded. There's no cost for our services. We are federal VA, just way over there, away from the rest of the VA.
But it's you're in your own entity, and it's total anonymity, which is great because a lot of people, you and I do a lot of work with veterans, and a lot of our veterans just don't feel comfortable getting up in front of a group or going to make an appointment at some office or something like that. They would rather come in and talk on a one-on-one basis. Now, you have a variety of programs over there. Do you ever make referrals to other agencies or anything like that?
All the time.
What are some of the things that you can do in that respect?
Well, they're not official referrals.
Right.
What we do is we keep lots of information. Even me in particular, because I'm the outreach specialist. My job is to run around 11 counties and basically just talk to people. I'll set up a display table that's got, I cover it with tons of brochures and information of all these different agencies, whether it's the Veteran Service Office, information on how to get VA caregiver support, even local agencies like Emerald Coast Behavioral or Life Management, and even the VA medical system themselves, because we encourage our veterans to get invested into the VA, just because we don't want to be their only option. We want them to get full health care.
But the last 10 months now has been rather traumatic for a lot of people.
Yes.
Especially veterans that don't really know what's going on, the destruction that's from this hurricane. It makes them feel like they're back in a war zone and everything. How has that affected the traffic coming in and out of the vet center?
Well, we've always been busy. The storm actually, we lost about a fourth of our clients. Just can't find them. We don't know where they went. We've had some of those return, and I've been able to run into some of them and kind of get them back in. So a lot of our clients we're getting now are new clients. Of course, we do have eligibility requirements for the vet center.
Right.
Service in a combat zone is number one. A victim of military sexual trauma while on active duty. Anything to do with moving or processing combat casualties, like your mortuary affairs, your medics, even people who never made it to the war zone, but they're dealing with the casualties of war. I had one really interesting Vietnam vet who never set foot in Vietnam. He was a dentist.
Wow.
And he was a client of ours. He came to see us, but he was a forensic dentist. So he was identifying remains. And it really, it hit him hard. It was tough on him. But the most recent thing we've been able to add to the vet center is we now work with drone crews. People who are sitting in one place, they're flying drones and they're shooting at and killing people. And for a while it's just a video game until they realize I'm actually shooting at live people.
I don't switch it off and turn it back on and everything's fine.
And then because of Hurricane Michael, this has been really great for us, and this is going to go on at least through the anniversary of Hurricane Michael. We've been allowed to waive our eligibility requirements. So if they're a veteran or active duty member of family and they're just stressed out because of dealing with the damage from the storm and rebuilding and all, they can come on in, see a counselor, no questions asked, we're going to take care of them.
Once a veteran comes in and says, hey, I want to talk to somebody, I've been feeling bad and everything, is that individual limited to one visit, or can they keep coming back?
No, we have no limits whatsoever. They can come in as many times as they want, for as long as they want. We have clients we've been seeing for years. I mean, again, the goal is to help them progress.
Sure.
But if they want to come in and talk to somebody, we got some come in, every week, some come in once a month. Some might not show up, once or twice a year, but they do come by. And, some just need a little refresher or a bump, to keep them going.
Sure.
But there's no limit. They can come as many times as they want. We do some special programs at the VA, or at the vet center. Things we do, because we do individuals, one-on-one counseling. And by the way, all the counselors at vet centers are a minimum licensed clinical social worker with a master's degree. Some vet centers have psychiatrists and psychologists. The big thing about that is, though, we never prescribe any medications.
Right.
And we don't diagnose
that
either.
Was my next question. What about medication?
Yeah, no medications at the vet center. If the counselor believes that there's going to be a need for medications, then that's where we'll try to get them to go over to the VA mental health clinic, because they can do the prescriptions and we can't.
For people listening now or watching, You're over on what, Minnesota Avenue?
Yep, we're at 3109 Minnesota Avenue, suite number 101. In fact, there's my brochure.
Oh, all right.
I might not be able to see it real well, but that's it. If everybody knows where Haney Technical Center is, you're going up 77, turn right on Baldwin Road, right in front of Haney, then turn left on Minnesota Avenue.
There you go.
And directly behind Haney Technical Center are some buildings that belong to Tyndall Federal Credit Union.
Right.
And we're in the northwest corner of those buildings. And we took very little damage from the storm.
Good. What days of the week, what are your hours of operation?
We're going to be there Monday through Thursday. We're open 7 in the morning till 7 at night. So plenty of opportunity for someone to come in. Fridays from about 7 to 4:30. It kind of depends on how our staff is set up. We can make some arrangements for that. If somebody can only be seen on a Saturday, we can work on that, and a counselor can help set that up.
Now, would you prefer they just walk in or make appointments?
Well, appointments are always nice, but if they walk in our front door, we're going to take care of them, even if they're not eligible. I mean, we're going to help them, because if we can't figure out how to make somebody eligible, and we're going to try real hard, we can see them for like up to 5 or 10 visits. And then if they just say hurricane, we're going to see them anyway. So
Right.
But one of the interesting things that's happening also, and we need Congress to pass a law for this, Coast Guard are normally not in a war zone, okay?
Which is weird.
Yeah, but they are out in the seas. They're doing drug interdictions. They're doing, search and recoveries, collecting bodies. Seeing some pretty, traumatic stuff out there. There's an initiative to get Congress to pass a law that will allow us to make it official for us to see Coast Guard members, who've been out to sea doing things like that, and put them on the same level as our post-traumatic stress combat vets.
They're veterans.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they guys will have all of the benefits. You had mentioned earlier, Matt, that you go out in the communities different around the area.
Absolutely.
And you have your mobile vet center, which is a big old van that you can't miss it. You take that out.
Yeah, the big white truck.
What are there any restrictions with that, or is that basically just a miniature vet center that you're going around with?
Yeah, well, it's literally called a mobile vet center. I use it mostly for outreach because it does stick out like a sore thumb. So if I can arrange for a place to park it at an event, then I show up, park it, put out the awning, and I play music and put a table outside with all kinds of materials on there for people to come and look at and pick through. And it's really a neat unit. It's used for, well, the couple weeks after Hurricane Michael, there was 5 of them here in Bay County.
Right.
And another 1 or 2 up in Jackson County and all over the place. Because FEMA likes to use them for like mobile command posts, because it's got satellite equipment and phones, and a wheelchair lift if we need to lift somebody up inside so they can come on in and talk to somebody. We can park it and sometimes get a counselor to come out and stay in there too.
Then any kind of information they want, you have that available for them.
Yep, I do. The next event that I'm going to do with it is, because I'm a big supporter of the Community Recovery Center at the library, and the truck's actually been in maintenance for about a month. I'm getting it back tomorrow. But on Wednesdays, I am set up at the Community Recovery Center at the Bay County Library. Well, this Wednesday, and I'm there on Wednesdays, generally from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock, but this Wednesday I'm going to bring the truck out and park it in the parking lot out there. And then Saturday the 20th, I'm going to bring, I've already gotten it approved to take the big mobile vet center down to the St. Andrews Market on Saturday morning.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Now, we know about the one that you have right here on Minnesota Avenue. For folks that are watching us right now, they may say live in Defuniak Springs, or they may live down in Gulf County somewhere, East Point, something like that, Franklin County. What's the closest one to them, or do they have to drive up to here?
Well, we actually have 26 vet centers in the state of Florida. Okay. The ones that we have in the Panhandle, there's one in Pensacola, there's one in Shalimar just outside of Eglin Air Force Base, which that covers the Defuniak Springs. There's us in Panama City, there's one in Tallahassee. Further east, I know Jacksonville has one, Ocala, Gainesville. Sure. And really all they have to do is, our website is www.vetcenter.va.gov. You go there, There's a locator in there where you just put in a
Right.
zip code or city and state. It'll tell you exactly where the nearest vet center is. And that doesn't mean you have to go to that one. You can actually go to any one that you want. But each vet center kind of has its territories, its catchment areas.
Yeah.
And the big thing to remember, if they don't want to bother with the website, 877-WAR-VETS is our national call center, but it also functions as a crisis line.
One other thing that I want to cover on this program here, Matt, is we hear the stories about our vets committing suicide.
Right.
It's a rate of like 22 every day or something. Like there's 22 a month. Has your vet center here on Minnesota Avenue actually increased awareness in that? Or are you really up to tune if someone calls, I want to commit suicide? Can you help them right there? Or do they have to go to the nearest hospital?
Well, if we're in our office and they come by, we're going to take care of them. If they're actively homicidal and we can't, or suicidal or homicidal, and we're not able to get them down, then pretty much we usually have to call 911. I mean, we're not chaplains. You know, we have, you know, we're mandatory reporters. But if somebody is actually suicidal, going to pull the trigger, they can call the crisis line. They can come by and see us. But if we can't talk them down, then, you know, Baker Act is about our only option.
All right. Our vet center does great things. You guys are doing a great job over there, but I'm not going to let you go because you do. This guy here does all kinds of stuff. With the great work you do over there, Matt, you've taken the time, and I do want to mention this, that you've written a book at some of your experiences. What's that all about?
Well, about 2 years ago, I was a first sergeant in the Air Force for the last 5 years of my 26. And of course, you know, the first sergeant deals with all kinds of issues, whether it's people in jail, people in the emergency room, a troop that's, you know, killed or suicide or something, domestic issues, you know, troops just not paying their bills or needing a haircut. You know, the first sergeant deals with all of that negative stuff. Now, we get a lot of positive things to do too, you know, whether it's promotions and parties, cheering people on, going to intramural games. But it's really easy as a first sergeant to let all that negative stuff, when you're, you know, putting a disciplinary action, pulling a stripe off of somebody, or, you know, having to put them in jail or in restriction, it's really easy for all that negative stuff to just drag you down and just give you a bad attitude. So what I kind of did is developed a little philosophy of my own. I even gave it, well, I didn't then, but now I call it my smileosophy. Okay? So I made it my daily chore, my daily job to come to work and make as many people smile every day as I could. So the book,
Something else.
the book I started, it is basically, I call it a motivational autobiography. It's titled You Can Smile Too, because, and I'm still doing it today, I love to make people smile.
That's it.
Yeah, when I go to anywhere, somebody asks me how I'm doing, I usually answer with the same question or the same reply: I am having more fun than I should be allowed. And the first thing they do is smile at me.
Now you got some great stories in here. Where can we get one? You were pretty good looking, by the way, when you were younger.
Yeah, that was a while back. But no, I actually finished it during the month after the hurricane. I had mostly written, just I had to reread it, and I had a lot of downtime.
Sure.
So I went ahead and put it together. I self-published it. It's on Amazon. The best deal is going to be the ebook. So if you have Kindle on your phone or pad or something, or a Kindle, you know, device, that's always the best deal if anybody wants it.
Right.
I'm not asking for people to buy it. I mean, if they want it, great.
It's just, you know, another example though of what our veterans today can do. And this is a positive book. In fact, you know, everybody likes to smile. They always say it takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown.
And I've also heard that the smiling kind of releases some endorphins or something.
Right.
But the stories in the book go from 3 years old until right after the hurricane. There's a chapter about being a first sergeant, a chapter about my time in Iraq in 2005, which actually that was the highlight experience of my career because it was all about morale. There's a chapter about my dog, about my special needs son that we raised.
Yes.
My Harley trip across the country on my dad's bike.
Don't give it all away, Matt.
No, I won't tell the stories.
You Can Smile Too, Matt Standish, retired Air Force First Sergeant, retired Air Force myself. But again, I just want to say, Matt, thanks so much for coming in today and giving us this information on the Vet Center, 3109 Minnesota Avenue, Suite 101. If you have any questions, go by there, then see them, call them, and if you are a veteran right now and you need immediate help and these guys are not open, call that Vet Crisis Hotline. Matt, thank you so very much.
My pleasure, Jerry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that takes care of this community involvement here for you. We'll be back next week with another edition. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.